We got emergency news. NIO gave CATL battery swap tech a few years back to strengthen collaboration, but it seems like CATL has beaten NIO by launching partner swap cars earlier than NIO has done. What does this all mean for NIO? Is NIO gaining a profit from this? Is this a huge gut punch to NIO? They got 10 car models from different brands all swapping under their ecosystem.
Chocolate is the first to create a cross-brand, cross-model battery swap ecosystem. When you see this logo, you'll know Chocolate has arrived. Welcome to the 2024 Catl Chocolate Battery Swap Ecosystem Conference. 25 unlimited monthly plan, 599 WIN premium, 499 WIN family. 20 plan, 469 WIN premium, 369 WIN family. 20 swap, 42 kWh for 400 kilometers range, LFP. 52 kWh for 500 kilometers, NMC. 25 swap, 56 kWh for 500 kilometers, LFP. 70 kWh for 600 kilometers, NMC. How many chocolate swap products are there? Our business model offers rentable, purchasable, and buyback options for Chocolate's eco-friendly batteries. Now just 500 WEN, down from 2,000. For try before you buy, rental platforms like Shenzhou, Yihe, Shuqi, and Zhongjin offer long and short-term EV rentals. We've reached a broad consensus with automakers on battery swap models. This year we've partnered with Chang'an, GAC, BIC, Wuling, and FAO. Today, we're jointly launching 10 battery swap vehicle models. These 10 models will be released gradually from the end of this year. New models will be introduced to the market almost every quarter after that.
You know, when they said they were the first to create a cross-brand battery swap ecosystem, that is unfortunately true. They beat NIO to the punch, even though NIO has way more swap stations than CATL. Now, what's the whole deal with the whole... Is NIO getting paid for this? I'm going to say yes. Okay, according to people close to the CEO, aka the guy with 23 NIOs, who's very close to the CEO, he talked about how during the past few years to strengthen the collaboration between NIO and CATL, because CATL has been the main supplier of batteries for NIO pretty much essentially gave them the battery swap tech for them to pursue their own battery swap ambitions. And through that, they're using NIO's patents. So one would think, if they're using NIO's patents, of course, they're going to be paying NIO some fees for those patents. Now, based off of this information alone, you're kind of thinking, hey, yeah, NIO is going to get paid for this. But at the same time, this is a competing business model compared to NIO, because NIO is also pursuing the same ambitions. NIO has signed on with a lot of the similar companies like Chang'an, GAC, etc. for battery swap cars that will be able to swap using NIO's swap stations. And CATL beat them to the punch. Now, they plan on building 1,000 swap stations in 2025 and eventually get to around 10,000 swap stations by the end of the decade and 40,000 swap stations as a long-term goal. So they're really aiming at making this the gas station alternative in the EV age, which of course, I've said before, this is one of the bull thesis for NIO stock. Now, of course, NIO has way more swap stations right now currently. And we also want NIO to be the future of gas stations in the EV age. And we were really looking forward to NIO having partner cars that can use NIO swap stations launched ASAP. But it's a big gut punch for me to see CATL launch 10 cars, all right, not one, but 10 cars that can use CATL's battery swap system, whereas NIO hasn't even launched one car that's maybe a GAC car that can use NIO swap station, or any other partner car that can use NIO's swap system. But we know for a fact that during our podcast, Blue Sky Coming podcast, we haven't done one in a long time, but we talked to one of the former head of marketing, and he said when he met up with Dr. Shenfei, the head of NIO Power, they talked about how the first priority is to get one of those partner swap cars on the road ASAP, and that Dr. Shenfei has been urgently working on this for the past year or so to make sure that that comes to fruition. ASAP. But it seems like, wow, like CATL has launched these cars before NIO has. Now, how could this also be a huge win for NIO? On top of patent fees and that kind of stuff, which will be really, really nice, NIO's Firefly cars use a smaller battery. And NIO CEO has said that it will need its own individual swap stations, which are much smaller and 50% cheaper than NIO's current swap stations. Now, it would be a real good thing if those Firefly cars used CATL's swap stations instead of NIO having to build thousands of new swap stations with the smaller form factor, because that would be actually a really big burden for NIO, to spend that much money and resources to build smaller swap stations. But instead, if they can just use CATL's EVO Go system, which, already has 10 cars, then I think that will be a big money saving for NIO going forward. And then they can prioritize the bigger swap stations that they have currently and make sure that that is very accessible all over the place. But I think overall, this really is a very bullish thing for NIO, because it signals to the market that battery swap is indeed the way to go. People have always said that battery swaps are stupid. Lots of Tesla sales reps saying battery swaps are stupid. When's the last time you swapped your phone battery? Phones don't even have removable batteries anymore. But this shows everybody that battery swap is indeed the right way to go. It is indeed the right path forward. It is indeed what everybody should have in their EVs. This will undoubtedly allow people to recognize the benefits of battery swap and educate people more about the benefits of battery swap. And now that people know that, hey, even CATL and 10 other cars that can do battery swap, what is this battery swap? Let me take a look. Oh, wait a second. NIO has the most number of swap stations. Let's go check out that car. Wow, NIO's cars are fantastic. Let's go buy a NIO. This shows everybody that battery swap is not stupid. It is the right path forward. And the fact that CATL uses NIO's patents is a good thing. All right, it shows that, NIO is still in control. NIO is still the number one in terms of swapping stations. And we just need to get those partner cars ASAP. All right, we just need to get those partner cars launched ASAP so that, people also can swap at NIO swap stations regardless of having to buy a NIO or not. But I'll be very honest, I was quite shocked. I was expecting maybe 2 or 3 cars launched that can use CATL's swap ecosystem, but 10 cars, that's a huge amount. Whilst NIO hasn't even launched a single car that's non-NIO branded that can use NIO's swap station. So NIO, come on, you gotta pick up the pace, all right? Get those partners to produce those cars ASAP, all right? As always, stay safe, stay healthy. Peace out.